So this week we have an amazing guest. Some of you may recognize her, Julie Spears. Used to be very close and intimate with us on our podcast, and she has branched out and she's going to tell us about what's going on in her life now because she's doing some incredible, amazing things for mamas, and I'll let her get into that part. But she gave us a bio, and I'm going to read it to you. Julie Spears is a mom whose life was forever changed the day she lost her son. Out of that devastation, she began walking with other grieving mothers, not as someone with answers, but as someone who knows the ache from the inside. With a background in social work and trauma-informed training, Julie blends education with lived experience to create spaces where moms can finally breathe again. She leads retreats, a 12-week coaching journey, her Syrup to the Soul group, one-on-one support, and quiet soul days on the beach, places designed for honesty, rest, and real conversation. Julie's work is rooted in faith, nervous system care, and the belief that no mother should have to navigate this pain alone. She is also building a 501c3 that will offer full circle support for grieving families and create opportunities for communities and sponsors to help carry this work forward. Julie lives in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, beautiful place, and spends her days doing what she once longed for, sitting with moms in their grief and offering presence, compassion, and a place to land. So here we have Julie, and she just completed an amazing retreat. Is this your second or third now? I know they've each changed, but
This is the third, is it the third or fourth big retreat that I've held. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah, for the grieving mamas. And so tell us about that retreat, this latest one, and then we can go back and talk about some of your other ones too and the things that have happened in those.
I tell you, this latest retreat was nothing short of Jesus saying, keep doing this work. Because I actually, from the beginning of the year, I did not have a location. And so I kept saying when people would ask, are you going to have another retreat? My answer would be, if Jesus provides the place and all the opportunity for it to come together, then I will have a retreat. Part of it was because I didn't want to feel so forced, like I was making something happen. It was almost like I wanted God to say, yes, Julie, you're supposed to do this kind of thing. And so I felt like a cat, just like pushing my feet back, resisting. And the harder I resisted, the more opportunities were just presented to me that it was like, okay, you can do it. I had somebody call to offer the space. It was a lot smaller than what I was used to. And so my first reaction was to say no, like, no, that's not what we're looking for. And I had said earlier in the year that I was just going to say yes to whatever surfaced because there may be, maybe that is the right way to go instead of making my own choice because I've been praying for the right answer. So I'm just going to lean into it. And thankfully I did. Jennifer Allwood, who we all coached with, saw some of the posts that I was looking for a spot and offered us to use her space in Miramar Beach, bougie in Miramar. And I was like, okay. And initially I was going to cram mamas in this place because I thought, well, I can fit this many people. And the more the retreat started growing, the more I just felt like I was getting the whisper of more is not always better. And I was like, okay. And so I had my four mamas and I was looking for other mamas and I just kept hearing more is not better. This is it. And so even though we had room to take other people, closed the retreat off. We had a total of 5 people at the retreat. We did not have any speakers. It was just me and the mamas. I did bring in a couple people to do different activities. We had Lucy, inspired by Lucy, who created some book journals. We had somebody that taught yoga, and we had 2 chefs that came in to cook meals for us. But the rest of the time was really a unique space where true relationships were built. You could tell the safety feeling when people walked, like the moment you walked into the door, you could just feel weight. We actually created a place where we were able to pile on the couch and pour on the blankets and put a movie in. And I think for the first time, just kind of feel like this is who I am, but I'm also okay. And I think part of it was just the presence of the other mamas. It was very intimate. We had real conversations. It wasn't conversations of our past or what we wished for. It was more so, how are we feeling? How do we feel being here in this home with other women who have experienced the tragedy of losing a child? But I think then we also got to witness and hear stories to know that this sounds kind of crazy to say, but there are other people who have it worse, you know? Or we got to hear stories of mamas, and it's like, how do you keep living? You know, how do you keep doing this? And we left, and I think that we left, and the way that everyone left, I know that those mamas will always have somebody in their phone that they can call to say, "Hey, I need to talk. I need to meet up," or whatever it might look like. Whether or not they do it, sometimes that's the hard part. You know, you have the connections, but then actually dialing the phone. And so that's the hope going forward. I feel like this retreat was more than I could have ever imagined. And seeing what Jesus did and knowing that this whole retreat process was from Him, I'm ready to keep going. I need to keep building them up, because I think what happened is I saw, without looking to my own plan and truly for once just saying, okay, if you want it to happen, you have to do it. I don't have the energy, nor do I have the desire, and I really don't want to be in this work anyway. I feel like it set me up for a place to actually be able to see the benefits and the value of this going forward, because you get to cling to the hope. But then I also got to see where this is not the end of the work, because I felt like these mamas were building relationships. And when it was over, I just dropped them off like, hey, this is what life could be like. And then you leave the retreats, just leaving them back here, sink or swim. You know, good luck. I gave you a little bit. I gave you a little floaty, but good luck. And it's just been heavy on my heart that that's not enough. That's there's more work to be done.
Do you have, like, what is their next step, from that, or is that something you're still thinking about?
I'm still thinking. I feel like I have the plan, but I'm learning that I can't do it by myself. I've always wanted to do it by myself, or I've never, you know, if I couldn't do it by myself, it just didn't need to happen. I struggle with asking for help. I struggle asking for sponsorships. I struggle asking for people to walk beside me in this space because it is so heavy. But I've also seen that I can't, not only can I not be the sole provider, but I can't carry the weight by myself. And we need these mamas. It's just like everything else you do. You connect with different people in different ways and in different levels and for different reasons. And the mamas need card support. Like I need a prayer team. I need secret sisters that, you know, can come alongside these mamas and be what my friends were to me in the darkest of times, and not in a way that's through words, but through, you know, just support. And I'm just learning that this is so much bigger than what my initial vision was, that I need a team.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot to
Yeah,
carry.
it is a lot. I've put it out into the world, into a little group, and asked people if they would be interested in supporting. Some of it is just like internet support, email support, social media support, but part of it too is, where do we have these retreats? You know, where are some locations? Where's, you know, how to keep up? I thought once you have a website and you have a program, that's all you need. But there's a lot of things that go along with you know, running a business and then adding the 501(c)(3) to that. So if anybody's listening and they're like, this sounds like something I could support or be a part of, please let me know.
Are most of the ladies that you work with, are they local, or are they coming from other parts of the country or even the world?
Yeah, so they've always come from all over. I've had a couple people that live in the local area. Said actually one, actually none. I've had nobody from the local area, but from like the surrounding areas, they'd probably have to drive an hour or two. And the furthest has been Canada. Next to Canada, I've had a lot of people from California that have attended. And I've had a good bit of people from the Mississippi, Tennessee
Oh,
area.
that's so interesting.
Wow,
That's
that
awesome.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
That is awesome.
So I know that you have a couple of things on your website to help support mamas, or if there's like, is that a good place for them to start if they're maybe not ready for a retreat or in-person coaching or whatnot? I know you have your course on there. So who would you recommend that for?
So I think that's part of where I'm learning that there needs to be a little bit more support, and that's where the 501c would kind of come in. And we need a membership. The membership has started for the moms who have actually attended the retreat. And the way the membership will work is it'll have 3 categories. The first category, or the first layer, is for anyone that would like to join just because they need a safe space to land. In this space, the way that it's been cultivated is not for somebody to come on and talk and have conversation, but more so a place where they can rest, but also have a chance to learn about the biology of trauma and grief and how they connect. And in this space, they get to hear, they get to feel, and they get to be in the moment to kind of like, some people go get their nails done. Well, this is a call where you get to come to love on yourself and actually learn about grief and trauma. That's the first layer, and there's no cost. It would be open to anybody. We'll probably do a couple of community connection calls as well throughout the month. The second tier is that we are creating will be where it's more so of movement. So we'll do the worship and the dance. We'll probably incorporate a Bible study, and then we'll actually have scheduled times where we do grief and trauma work, which is where we take what we learn and we actually put it into action. Because as you know, we can talk about healthy eating all day long, but until you actually do it, that's the difference in life. Or the same way with exercise. And I know for me, I will constantly scroll Instagram on all these new ways that I can work my butterfly wings, but then I don't implement it because it becomes too tough or too hard, or just I don't make time for it on my own. So this will be a space where you've heard about it, you know about it. Now, how do we actually apply this to our everyday life to kind of give the nervous system the calming that it needs? And so that would be part 2. And part 3 is I just completed my yoga certification, and this will be where we incorporate parts work and somatic work to where we actually learn how to move and feel the trauma in the bodies. And the goal is that our body needs movement. We need free movement. And this will give us the chance to actually experience that as a group.
Wow. Sounds amazing. A lot of
Dreaming.
layers and a lot of support.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I know these mamas need a lot of support. I mean, I haven't experienced it, so I really don't know, but I
Yeah.
also can't imagine. So,
Yeah.
and I feel the loneliness I imagine you feel.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like a lot. And I think that mamas and probably everybody else may be like, how in the world? But if we have a call a week plus yoga, it's truly for me. And so I'm doing the work that I need. If I had the perfect world, or close to perfect, that I could create, what would that look like? And then if people join, it's just really a bonus. But for me, I think the membership or these added layers are truly what I need to incorporate into my everyday life. And people joining is helping me to create the accountability that I need to support other moms that I feel led to do. And so like I said, I was pushing like a cat, and I just felt like in my heart, every time I would talk about it, this is what I need for me. And so I'm just grateful that I have a chance to share what I need with other mamas who are alone and who feel like they are isolated, Sheri.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that what you found that you need is probably what they need as well, that support and just coming together and knowing that you're among, other women have experienced the same.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think deep down that's what most people need is a community of support. And so I think it's amazing what you're doing specifically for grieving mamas, just giving them that community support that they're
Thank you.
needing during that time with other people who understand what they're going through, you know? Yeah. Just being understood goes a long way towards healing.
And you know, in our minds, I don't know about y'all, but I know like for me, sometimes I'm like, I don't really care what other people think, or I don't, it doesn't matter. But what I'm finding, and and you learn as you go through different things in different ways, that other people, the things that they do or how they live or how they have support or where they struggle, and you come together with another group of people, a lot of times you get the answers you need just hearing your own self talk. It's like you don't, in this world, I can't give anybody their answer. I can't tell them what they need, because truly the way you look at this work is, how are you and who are you when nobody's around in those darkest times? And only you know how you are in those times. And it's the most craziest thing to hear somebody that knows somebody who's lost a child, and they take themselves to what they see them doing in the community. But again, it all goes back to, as a mama, who are you in those times when you're by yourself? What do you do? How are you living? And what is it that you're craving? And that's really where the work begins. And there's just not a lot of people that hold that depth of the darkness.
And I don't think there's a lot of people that hold space for grieving mamas to be able to process that and be able to live their everyday lives, you know? So I think it's just so important. And I'm curious about, you mentioned something called soul days. So I'm curious what that is, because I feel like that's something new.
It is, I found paddleboarding right at the beginning of Zach's accident, just a couple months later. And it was really a space of comfort for me, where I did not have to talk, but I could just see Jesus. And there's something about being on the water and seeing nature come to life and feeling it. And it is very calming to the body, to our minds. And so what we're going to do is incorporate that work, taking it from the paddleboard, and even just how we breathe, is it mimics the waves that come in. And so it's a space where you can come, but you have every opportunity to pour out or to be or to use me for that period of time, whether you choose the 4 hour or the 6 hour, to sit with me, to share your story, to actually identify what the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, or what it is, to actually experience some of these changes in our body with someone. And so the hope is to give mamas who do live close to me, they can travel, the chance just to meet with somebody who understands, but then also to really fully kind of grab the difference in what grief and trauma is to the body versus what the world or the human experience says, because it's totally different. And if somebody has lost a child and they're looking to the human to give them answers, or to people, places, or things, they're just going to stay empty. And I really want to share with them the connections between our body, give them permission to grieve, and then also just that surrendering process, where I truly believe that when we surrender everything to Jesus Christ, that he renews us. And it's difficult. I thought it would be easy. It's the hardest thing that I've ever done, because you're pulling. It's like a tug of war between the world and the devil and God and our own thoughts. And we know what we need. Like our knower knows. Just a matter of being comfortable with that knowing and leaning into it. And so these days are really spent just providing permission, sharing the sharing the depth of the pain. And the hope is that these mamas, what I have experienced is, when they walk away feeling like they do have a little bit of normalcy, that even though their lives have been turned upside down, they leave with hope.
Amazing.
Is this like a one-on-one type scenario? Okay.
It's
Well,
one-on-one.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
going to say, just having the safe place of knowing that you're sitting with somebody that has gone through and walked through and is a little bit ahead of you, that's got to be just healing in itself. To be able to
Yeah.
know that I can cry with this person and dump it all.
Mm-hmm. I can cackle, laugh with this person, and it be okay.
Right.
Or I can go do cartwheels, or I can go play in the beach and work the waves, or I can scream. Like, who you are is Jesus loved, and that's okay. It's okay. Whatever you are, it's okay. You matter.
Yeah. And I personally can't think of a better healing place than on the water. I
Yeah.
really
Right?
can't. Yeah.
Sound amazing. And just
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
able to be in a calm space and surrender and connect with Jesus and have a support person to guide you. It just sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
been good. I'm just like, okay, Jesus, what are you doing? What's happening here? Yeah.
yeah. I know that in past episodes you've told us some of the God stories that have happened for you, but I know some of our listeners are new too. And just how things have come together for these retreats. To me, it's just it's amazing, but not because we know who orchestrates it all. So tell us some of your Jesus stories as far as how
Mm.
your events have just come together when you thought that maybe they wouldn't, and the people that have stepped forward to help you.
You know, I think the whole thing has been a Jesus thing, a whole story, because I am the kind that I think I've already said this. I can do it all. I mean, in some ways, I think I'm a know-it-all. I'm just that kind of person. Like, there's nothing I can't figure out. There's nothing I can't accomplish, and I don't need anybody to do it myself. And when the idea first, it was almost kind of like it wasn't just host retreats. It was, I started learning about the biology of trauma for myself because I could not figure out why I felt the way I felt. And the doctors were like, take this pill, time will heal. You're just anxious. You're just nervous. It'll get better. Quit thinking about it. And I'm like, I'm doing all these things and nothing's working. What's wrong with me? And so I felt like Jesus was saying, you need to share your story. You need to share what's helping you with other mamas. And my whole thing is I don't want to do something like I have most of my life and look back and said, did I do the right thing? Is this what I was supposed to do? And it's almost like just a messy accomplishment of not feeling fulfilled or feeling worse than when I started. And I was just like, God, I feel like you are telling me to do these things, but I don't really know. And I don't know how to do that. Like, how do I lead a retreat for a mama who's lost a child? Like, who am I to be equipped for this kind of work? And so, just my prayer from the beginning is that I want you to use me and to put me in the right spaces around the right people. And if I'm supposed to host these retreats, then you will line that up for me. You know, part of in that prayer, in my praying, I just felt like I was told you have to go out into the community. Like, you can't, if you want to do this and you want me to help you, you got to get out of these walls. And more that I met people in the community, and the more that I was open to not even have to give them the whole story, they offered for to use their house. And I was like, are you kidding me? This big place? Like, yes. People have supported us, like Minky Couture supported us with blankets. And I'm like, wow, blankets for these mamas. And we've had churches come along that have helped with food. It's the people, the mamas that have come have, like, I've just always prayed for it to be the right mama. And I don't know what it is other than every retreat that I leave, I feel so mentally exhausted and emotionally drained, but yet I feel so good and I want more. It's like it's not a rush of I got to do this again or when can I have it again. It's almost like, okay, okay, Jesus, I see what you've done because I know it's not me. See more. Like like I want to see your plans, not mine. I don't want to I don't want to be the doer. I want you to be the doer and just show me how to be your handwork, which has become harder because I feel like the more that he wants done, I have to sit back. And here's the other thing, Sheri, this is really what I've learned through all this. You pray for it. Show me how to heal my heart, or show me where to find peace or joy in you, or how do I, like I really want to surrender. And then he tells you and he lays it out, and people call you and you got everything you need. You have to do the work. And that's been the hardest is he has given me everything to do this, but the doing the work, the putting your face on social media and keeping on to tell people because people don't know unless you share. And that's really been the number. But I'm finding that when I do get the confidence and I do as I should and I share with people, and maybe that even just sharing his name or sharing the work that he's done through these retreats, it makes all the difference. So every bit of it has been him. And I know that because I have said from the entire, most all of them, because it's so draining, and then even afterwards, it's like exhausting. And so I'm like, okay, help me. I would say every retreat, every single retreat, he has definitely put the people, the places, and everything has come along. I've not lacked for anything. I've not lacked for nothing.
And that's also amazing because you're able to keep the cost of all of these retreats pretty low for the mamas too, because of all the donations that are given for it. And so maybe mamas that wouldn't have been able to go are able to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God is just doing everything for his daughters to find freedom and healing.
He is. And I wish that I had just, because I hear myself talking and I had an argument with my dad, and I realized I think I surrender, but I don't. I think I'm surrendering, but I'm still looking for that human nod, you know? And what I've learned is through all of this, no matter what any human says, no matter what any earthly person says, if I just look to Jesus and say, okay, I'm here and I'm ready and I need you to show me the way, holding to that is a struggle because I still look to that human for their nod. But anyway, I guess that's just the part that I don't know if it's for all of us or if it's just me or what, but that's been the trial of working through it.
I feel like that's all of us. And I feel like that's, at least me anyway, that it's something that we all can learn from and apply, honestly.
I want to ask you, well, basically just your next steps.
Next steps. I think the next steps are I'm going to offer a 12-week syrup to the soul again. I had a couple offerings last year and it went really good. A couple of those moms who were in the 12-week group actually came to the retreat, so that was good, a good feeling. And it feels good to know that, one service, they just continue to go forward. And so what I want to do is when we first started these retreats, people from the community would come in and help support. And now that full circle moment is where some of these moms that I've worked with, or maybe other moms who have lost a child, can actually come alongside the community and be a part of that creation because, like I said, I can't do it on my own. And so we have walks that are starting up in different areas. Walks where, oh, that's the other part where if you're in a spot where you want to coach but you can't afford it, or you're in a place where like I can't do that now, but I need people, then I'm happy to help set up a walk in your area and just really coach you on how to do that and help people to get that going. So we have a Connect the Wiregrass, which is in Dothan, Alabama. We have a Connect Houston that's starting up, and then we have a Connect 30A. So hopefully we'll have more, and that's part of just the ecosystem of I know I can't do it all, but there are so many mamas here that really want to serve and pour their hearts out, and I want to help them to do that, whether it's to write a book or to create their own program, whatever it might be. And so I think that's starting that ecosystem. And then the other part is I'll start promoting Syrup to the Soul actually this week. And for those that are on my email list, we'll start there. And then hopefully in January, we'll kick off our next 12-week course. So excited about that. And the other part, I think, just to keep going with the 501c3 and just to give everybody a chance to have that full circle, kind of that full circle model of, you have the faith piece and then the community piece and then the actual body piece is kind of the dream going forward. And I think my verse, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are Christian spirit, has always kind of come to mind because it lets me know that I'm not alone. The Psalms have always just been a place where I've always kind of gone in the moments of I don't know what you want me to do or I don't know how to feel. And it's just been a place where I could go and feel like Jesus was speaking to me or sitting with me. After Zach's accident, I people probably could not have talked to me about the Bible just because I was like, you have no idea. But I think today knowing that knowing that Jesus is with me is one thing, but then actually being able to see what he wrote and being able to learn just the different stories of Joseph and Job and, just hearing their lives and then being able to have the Bible almost as like, this is, this is my safe space where, I know you're with me, but now I get to actually see your stories and feel it and connect with other, people. That's kind of been where these verses have come along because I see their pain. I can read about their pain, and it's just nothing that compares to me. And it's hope. It's hope, and it's hope knowing that He's close to me, and when you're brokenhearted, and when you're a Christian spirit, and so this is just it just fits. Everything falls apart, and this fits. You're not alone out there by yourself. He is close to those that are brokenhearted and saves those that are Christian spirit. So
I think
yeah.
that's a truth that we all need to hear at different points in our lives, that he's close to us when we're hurting. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Julie, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing about your grief retreats and your journey helping other mamas who are grieving. And I know that you have a lot of resources on your website and a lot of ways for women to connect with you and receive the kind of help and encouragement and community that they need. Where would they go to find you?
They can go to www.juliespears.com and it is a 501c3, so it could be tangledgrief.com or juliespears.com. Or you can go to Hey Julie Spears and find me on social media.
And if you're also interested in coming alongside this ministry with Julie, I would love for you to go give her a follow and catch up with her on social media and support the work that she's doing. It'd be amazing. Thanks so much for joining us again, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you.